is Guo Wengui. Guo is a self-proclaimed dissident from China.
But he's now a wanted man in his homeland.
The charges he's facing are very serious.
He is charged with fraud and money laundering, and as CBS 2's Alicia Reed explains,
controversial Chinese billionaire
Beijing is seeking his arrest.
Guo Wengui is also known as Miles Guo. In the public eye, this name may be accused of being a criminal, but Miles also has tremendous support for his innocence.
Free Miles Guo!
How did a Chinese tycoon end up in a U.S. jail without bail? Why is he the eyesore of both the U.S. and Chinese governments?
I think you are potentially China's #1 enemy. The government, not the people.
Some say he's a hero, others a villain. Or could he be a victim, a designer, or a rapper? Let's delve deeper to uncover the truth. Who is Miles Guo? Born in 1968, Miles came from a poor village in China's Jilin province called Zhaozhago. His parents worked hard to raise 8 boys. Miles was the 7th. Miles grew up knowing what it was like to be hungry and cold. During the Cultural Revolution, the whole country was in chaos, and Miles caught the urge to thrive rather than just survive. At 7, he was selling popsicles in the village. By 12, watches and jeans. At 13, he had his own steamed bun shop. And by 15, he was fixing and flipping motorcycles. Afterwards, Miles moved back to his roots in Shandong. As a teenager, Miles was the guy known for the best motorcycles around. In 1985, he met the woman who'd become his wife, and soon they started a family. During this time, Miles's youngest brother remained by his side. Miles's elder siblings found themselves in respectable professions as well, ranging from teaching to law enforcement and military service, accompanying him on their journey towards a gradually improving and happier life. But in 1989, everything changed. That year, China was in turmoil. Students took to the streets of Beijing, demanding democracy and freedom.
Going to march. 10 minutes there. Why? I think this is my duty.
Feeling the pull to support the cause, Miles sold his motorcycle and gave all his cash to the student protesters. But the government wasn't just cracking down on the protesters. They went after anyone who supported them, including those who donated money. One day, in May 1989, Miles, his wife, 2 children, and his younger brother were gathering in Miles' office when 2 drunk cops barged in to arrest Miles. During the confrontation, the police fired 8 times. 2 bullets almost hit his wife, who was holding the baby, and 2 bullets hit his younger brother in the chest. That night, the police took Miles into custody while completely ignoring his brother. 2 days later, Miles's brother died in the hospital from a gunshot wound. Miles would end up being detained for 22 months in the Xingfeng Detention Center, a place that would forever change his life. In detention, Miles encountered many others who believed in the student movement and democracy. They were teachers, lawyers, writers, and young activists. Despite the lice, moldy food, and damp conditions, these brave people held on to their ideals. Miles watched as each of them were executed without any dignity. The sorrow of losing family, enduring unjust imprisonment, and spending 22 months in confinement, watching innocent, like-minded intellectual mentors put to a cruel death, ignited within Miles a new life purpose. The first thing Miles did upon his release was collect his brother's ashes from the crematorium. Miles's life was never the same from this moment. In the 1990s, following the new direction in China's policies, business opportunities could be found anywhere. With all his possessions confiscated from previous imprisonment, Miles had to start from scratch. His first gig involved carrying fuel savers by train from Beijing to Harbin, a job not for the faint-hearted. But it paid off. With the earnings and some new friends, he moved his family to Chengzhou. There, he co-founded a wooden furniture factory. During this period, Miles met Mr. He, who was introduced by his cellmate in Xingfang Detention Center. Mr. He, a friend and mentor, is a seasoned Beijinger, much older than Miles, and comes from a family with a strong scholarly background. Mr. He was profoundly inspired by Miles's spirit and firmly believes that he is destined to make a significant impact. Before long, Mr. He introduced Miles to a relative who was living in Hong Kong, Ms. Xia Ping. A successful businesswoman herself, Ms. Xia believed Miles had a strong intuition about real estate and high-end hotels. Ms. Xia Ping arrived in Zhengzhou and invested in Miles's venture, the Yuda Hotel, marking Hunan Province's first five-star hotel when Miles was only in his 20s. The Yuda Hotel soared to unprecedented success, marking a significant milestone in Miles's life. It transformed from a mere hotel into a landmark in Zhengzhou and across the Hunan Province. Along this path of success, as Miles expanded his network and met numerous businessmen and politicians, he never forgot the vow he made in front of his brother's urn. In 1998, Miles and his family moved to Beijing. By then, Miles had risen to become a wealthy magnate, owning multiple homes in the most exclusive parts of Beijing, driving the finest cars, and wearing the most luxurious clothes. His network across different circles kept expanding. Around 1998, he was already planning his next venture, the Pangu 7-Star Hotel. Foreseeing that Beijing would have the opportunity to host the 2008 Olympic Games, Miles bought a piece of deserted land covered in weeds and situated far from the city center in a village that was soon to become the Olympic Village for the Games. Just as Miles had suspected, in 2001, Beijing secured the chance to host the upcoming Olympic Games.
The Games of the 29th Olympiad in 2008 are awarded to the city of Beijing.
A victory that sparked widespread celebration across the nation. Yet the path that this victory led to was filled with political struggles and obstacles. Over the course of several years, Miles managed to acquire land in Beijing's prestigious Huhai district. Here, he constructed a courtyard house as a gift for his mother's 70th birthday. This district is renowned for its historical significance, housing residences of former royalty and current elites. Unfortunately, they viewed Miles as an outsider, branding him as new money and someone who didn't belong in their social circle. Pangu Hotel hit some major roadblocks right out of the gate. Construction was left hanging by Liu Zhuhua, who served as Beijing's deputy mayor and the brains behind the Olympic construction. Liu was the first to flex his muscles with his shady agenda to get his hands on this great piece of land, all to please one of his lovers. In 2003, Pangu fell victim to confiscation. Miles reported Liu Zhuhua's misconduct with video evidence to the authorities, leading to Liu Zhuhua's arrest. Pangu was then unsealed and returned to Miles. It seemed like Miles had won, but behind the scenes, Liu Zhuhua and his crew were plotting their revenge. When completed in 2008, Pangu Hotel outshone even the Yuda Hotel with its remarkable achievements. It brought great honor to China during the Beijing Olympics, earning admiration from numerous foreign media outlets and celebrities. This period marked the golden age for Miles and his family. It was also during this time that Miles's network extended far beyond China, with celebrities from various countries gathering at his Pangu residence. By this time, he and his family business had already become renowned on the Huron Rich List in China, with private jets, hundreds of cars, millions of pieces of antique furniture, and countless designer clothes. However, amid all the fame and fortune, Miles never forgot his original mission and goals. In 2013,